4 squad, now! Go! Now, faster! Faster! Faster, move it! Move your ass! Cover in a line! Cover in a line! Adjust your nasty body! Squad leader, if you don't get this recruit in line, it's on you. It's on your ass! You hear me? Sir, yes, sir!
I think I always want to do as much as I can. Some of the stuff, like when we were doing fights and stuff for safety, you have to have like stunt doubles. But the fun thing, even though it looks tough on camera, like it is fun, you know, to go. Like when we did boot camp before we started the show, I didn't really want to be with the drill instructors. I sort of wanted to go through what the recruits would go through, just so I knew what I was talking about. And we got to do some like cool shit, you know, like, you know, all the obstacle courses and training swimming, learning how to use the gun and stuff. I think the hardest thing was the Louisiana heat, because we filmed in like the summer in Louisiana, which is just humid and hot, and all the costumes, it's like tough.
Sweaty.
Yeah.
It was a very quick turnaround. Like when I got the job, they literally were like, we need you to fly to New Orleans tomorrow and basically start immediately. So there wasn't a whole lot of time to prepare, but fortunately we worked out this routine where each episode sort of covers a different part of boot camp, and we would have some designated time before each episode to sort of go over what was coming in the next couple of weeks. And we actually had military advisors on set with us every single day, and available at any time to call or text outside of work, like if we ever had questions, and to make sure that we were doing the best that we possibly could. I know that they really wanted it to be accurate to the actual experience. And so they went sort of above and beyond to try to make sure we were doing things properly, but they were always there to help us with training and stuff. Mm-hmm. Liam and I had a moment at the beginning where we were filming before everyone else started, and they were doing like an actual boot camp, but we missed out on that, unfortunately.
Which is why we're so bad.
I know, it shows on the screen.
God, it really does. But it's like kind of weird that the things that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be the most difficult and challenging ended up being the hardest things to do correctly and accurately, because it's the simple things, it's the basics, it's staying at attention, it's marching, it's being able to about face and doing all the facing movements, these like really simple basics that if we mess them up, they're the first thing that the people who have actually been through it will point to and say, you're not doing that right. You're not standing correctly. You're not holding yourself correctly. You're not saluting correctly. And so the kind of bigger set pieces, a lot of times were quite fun and easy to do. And the really arduous things were just getting the simple stuff correct.
I mean, fortunately, you know, especially my character's experience is inspired by the book, The Pink Marine, that Greg Cope wrote. And he was a writer on the show and executive producer. So for me, he was like the most obvious tool to utilize of understanding truly what this experience was like for him. And same with, we had military advisors, like I was saying, and one of them was actually discharged for being gay, and lost all of his titles and his entire military career. And he was there on set with us as well. So we were really lucky to have people with real lived experience there to talk to us and tell us, you know, anything that we wanted to know, or just stories to understand what it was like at that time. And then obviously there's sort of research done on the sides just about the time period, but yeah, we were lucky to have actual people to talk to.
I mean, definitely the like I'm not from America, I'm not from a military background, and you know, doing all my homework, I was just kind of shocked at how late it was when you wasn't illegal if you were gay in the military, and just the writing of the show. I remember reading the script, so I was like in awe, and I couldn't wait to get to the next episode. But the playing Sullivan, whose character is so sort of sad, and he's sort of the perfect example of like what can happen if you're not allowed to be yourself, and if you sort of hide and run away from essentially what shouldn't be a problem, which is being yourself.
Yeah, and actually a lot of the most fruitful research that I did involved my dad in the show's backstory, because I think Ray comes from a military family and his father was a decorated Vietnam War vet. And it was really important for me to understand where I came from, where he came from, and because it informs everything about Ray. And his father was a tunnel rat in Vietnam. And the research into his experience in the war and the trauma that he went through was incredibly important into informing, the world that Ray grew up in and his belief system and everything that he was raised to believe. And so weirdly, I did more research on the 70s and the Vietnam War in some ways than the immediate preceding decade.
I think immediately you see Sullivan target Cameron, and you sort of question why he's so harsh on him. But obviously, as you get to further down the line in the series, you realize he's trying to get him to quit. He doesn't want him to go through what he's going through. And then there's like a pivotal point where he sees something in him, something that's stronger than he realized, and he thinks now he's going to make it his mission to make him, if you're going to stay in the military, he's going to make sure that he's doing it correctly and he's equipped with everything that he needs. And the relationship sort of gets to a point where when Sullivan's broken down, everything's caught up with him. It's almost like Sullivan falls from grace. He's not really the perfect idol that Cameron thought he was. It's almost like a perfect example of what not to be. And sort of, the student becomes the teacher in a way.
Yeah, I mean, very similarly, I think for Cameron, Sullivan represents this sort of ideal person, this like strong, confident man that I think Cameron has always wanted to be. And that's sort of how he views him. And then as Sullivan starts to crumble, I think Cameron can see it happening and starts to realize that they're more similar than he had thought, and ultimately realizes that Sullivan is actually an example of what happens when he hides himself and doesn't truly love himself and have self-acceptance, and what that can end up looking like. So it's this very interesting turn where at the end Cameron's sort of left with this choice of like, do I go on my path or do I go on Sullivan's path? And I think it's left sort of open-ended at the end for Cameron, what that looks like. I think he's hoping to find some sort of middle ground, and then is met with this sort of harsh reality of the situation he's in. When he's looking at the TV and sees that we're going to war, I think there's a lot of things going on in his mind. But mostly stems from this sort of connection to Sullivan.
I like the moment where sort of like pass him the radio and sort of hand over the reins and let him know that he's made it. He's going to be fine. He's a Marine now. And then sort of it's Sullivan's only point where he sort of succumbs to his fate. I think at the end it's quite a moment.
It is.
Yeah.